So with that, I'll entertain any motion to approve the consent calendars.
Mayor.
Oh, excuse
we've
me.
got speakers.
Skipping a step here. So, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on the consent calendar?
We have about 9.
9 requests to speak. Okay. We may, like we usually do, get more requests after the initial number, so we'll just reduce it down to 2 minutes per speaker for the consent calendar. And if you would like to go ahead and call up the first 3 speakers, please.
Okay, first 3 speakers are Donovan Sadiq, Daryl Terrell, and Russell Schaefer.
Okay, I'm just getting shocked when I'm up here. Again, welcome and thank you, council, staff as well. This is the second reading of the ordinance to number 996 regarding mayor's role, duties, and responsibilities. And it was universally approved in the last meeting, and I'm all for it, but here's my stance on it, and for the people at home. Last meeting, I called out the mayor, and I read a direct quote. This is why this thing needs to be approved, to put mayors like this in check. Simple as that. This man here was involved in a coup, a conspiracy with his henchman, Dave Marquez. Yes, we should approve this with restrictions. The council should have the overall approval to designate the mayor's position, because this guy over here, this guy up here, Mr. 27-year-old, and I give you grace. I give you grace because you are inexperienced. You don't know what you're doing. There's a reason why, and I get it. I'm a civilian now, but I come from a military background. But anybody that's been in the military will tell you, when that new lieutenant comes right out of college, thinks he knows everything, they put him with an NCO of experience. And thank God Ed Delgado, Baca Santa Cruz is up there, because you two people have yet to give us an explanation of what is going on, and you think you're going to sit up there and just reap the rewards? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Daryl Terrell, Russell Schaefer, and Roy Bleckert.
Hi, my name is Daryl Terrell. I just wanted to comment on before the Adrian Mitchell Park. I want to thank my council member, Elena Baca Santa Cruz, for your leadership, and my good friend Donovan over there, and for his activists, for fighting for the people over in Edgemont. He's a veteran, and he cares deeply about that community and getting their fair share of resources. In my 2020 campaign, when I ran for mayor, I did a video over there in that park, and I saw for my own eyes the despair that was there. And I know your mom did the best she could to make it better, to give people hope over there. And you know, like I tell people, sometimes we don't always see eye to eye, but I care about that district like everybody else does. But I want to thank you, ma'am, for your leadership, but also to point out that there's other areas in this city that's been left behind too. And the fact that the folks in Edgemont pay their fair share of taxes, and there are other parks over there that lacks the same amenities, like Adrian Mitchell Park. And like Donovan said, and when we was doing the video, and there he was telling me the story about when they were having soccer practice and football practice. The parents were lined up with their cars and shining the light out there because there was no lights out there. The benches was in disarray, but your mom made it right. And so what I want to say, that we should look at equity when it comes to fair share of resources throughout the whole city. We should look at every city service with that lens to ensure that people receive their fair share of resources. So I will ask this council and the city manager to start looking at everything with that lens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speakers are Russell Schaefer, Roy Bleckert. And Bob Palomares.
City of Moreno Valley. So Ulysses Cabrera wants to be a voting delegate to the Southern California Association of Governments. Wow. Normally, it would be great to have a mayor present to represent our city, but you, Cabrera, are still under investigation for illegally appointing LaDonna Jepson to the city council. You have been censored twice. As your time as mayor, you have been ordered to take harassment training for harassing a city employee. Have you completed all the requirement training? Or do you still think you can ignore the rules once again? You continue to just be an embarrassment to Moreno Valley. Send ethical Mayor Pro Tem Ed Delgado to represent our city. It would be an ethical thing to do. Thank you.
Next three speakers, Roy Bleckert, Bob Palomares, and Tom Gerald Sr.
The amount of speakers we have and subjects are absolute, I believe, unequivocal proof what I've been saying for a long time. These items that are on these agendas should be discussed, should be put out. Senior Center, $4.4 million on 4,000 square feet. Let's do a little easy calculation. That's $1,000 a square foot. Now, I have no problem with expanding the Senior Center. That seems a little outrageous to me. And then you're approving a contract of $400,000 for the architect. Now it's about 10%, but if the cost should be about $2 million, then the cost of designing should be about $250,000. These are questions I don't hear asked, and that is what you five should be doing. And that's why this stuff should not be on the calendar. Just like Adrian Mitchell Park and the bathrooms over here across the street. 150 grand a design to design them? Is this going to cost us $1.5 million? Because that's a standard in the industry. If you don't believe me, check with some people that actually work in it. This is what the big problem is, and you talk about my earlier comments of why this city is seen in the light, and it does, and it has the reputation it does, exactly because of this. And look, everybody was talking about more services and this and that. If we're spending way too much money on a bunch of stuff, that means we're not building more. If we're spending too much on bathrooms over here, we're not providing more bathrooms over there at other parks or other senior centers or other facilities. This is a discussion that should be made. You guys should have a study session probably every day of the month because you're so far behind and so incompetent in what's going on. This stuff needs to be fixed and fixed yesterday, that you won't hear these complaints.
The next two speakers are Bob Palomares and Tom Gerald Sr.
I kind of agree with Mr. Russell Schaefer when he was talking about Association of Governments, the delegate. What I want to know is, like Roy and Donovan Sadiq have asked about the violations. You know, they're still open. The DA is waiting on the AG. That's why there hasn't been any movement on that. But if we're going to have Cabrera up there, you know, representing this city, and he hasn't, I believe that when you go through your training that you're required to go through for those violations, and I think one of them might have been sexual harassment, former employee, that you're given a certificate. And this is already, a lot of time has gone by. I don't know if you've already completed it or if you're certified, if you have completed it. But I think the people would like to know, because you're representing us. At least you cleaned the slate. You know, you did what you're required to do. Because I think we deserve a very good person up there, you know, that goes up there clean, that can admit that they did wrong. But you, Cabrera, I don't know. I don't think you'll ever do that. You're too deep You know, like they say, if you're digging a hole, stop. But you just continue. And I hope you do the right thing, Cabrera, and let us know if you've completed. Thank you.
The final speaker is Tom Gerald Sr.
Tom Joe Sr., speaking on behalf of myself, Mayor Cabrera, Mayor Pro Tem Delgado, members of council and staff here in the chambers and watching at home, the public. Two things on that caught my eye on the consent agenda. First of all, that item A8 about the memorandum of understanding for entrepreneur, I'm sorry, how to say, entrepreneurial. Okay, and so, but I really affirm that. I mean, that's the core to our economic engine that drives the area, you know, new innovation stuff. So I like that, and I just wanted to compliment on that. And on item A9, I'm just happy to see that we're moving forward with the expansion of the senior centers and expanding segment of the population right now. And you know, it always was a little tight even from the day it was built. And I like the idea that they're making use of what we have in hand and, you know, reconfiguring things, which might be why the planned things are kind of expensive because you got to go through, you got to redesign what's there initially. And, you know, it's kind of like a complete redo and then figure out the add-ons. So kind of work can get challenging. And I haven't bid out any architecture in a long time, but I know everything's up in the construction field. But I just want to affirm those two items. Thank you.
The final speaker is Luis Palomares.
Okay, as far as Cabrera, I'm Luis Palomares, a community activist here. As far as Cabrera, you know, about the cities, as far as the Association of Governments, you're appointing yourself or you're, golly, you violated the Brown Act. You got censored twice. You got censored twice. You have a harassment, sexual harassment from a female employee here. Well, I could be wrong, but that's what's going to court. So, okay. And also, you're denying it because, you know, you can't say a paragraph, let alone a sentence, without saying a lie in it. It's a shame. So how much of an embarrassment for you to go and want to go to the Association of Governments to represent our city when we've been investigated by the Riverside DA? You have. I got it right here, investigated by the Riverside County DA. And what an embarrassment. How, don't you get it? You're here to represent the whole community and not yourself, because when you're over there, all you're doing is lobbying and making connections and everything else. You go to a lot of different events that the city sends you to. You're not even in the room. You're you know, lobbying people and connecting with other people. That's not right. You're wrong. So how are we going to send you to do this? What an embarrassment to the city, you know. Also, as far as signs, you know, you break the rules. 90 days. 90 days. You put your signs up prior to that. You know, you voted against. What are you going to vote? Take care of us over there in the government of cities. How are you going to do that? You voted against senior eats. You voted against a lot of